Thank you, Bennett, and thank you for this invitation to speak today. You know, they used to teach, and I think they probably still teach, a course in schools. They may not call it the same thing, but it's basically a course on cultural literacy. And it's to make sure that our children share some of the same values that we share, because we are only united as so long as we have the same experiences and we share the same values. And I think it's comforting to know while we are here in Camilla, Georgia, that there are people all over this country that are celebrating the same holiday and honoring the same people that we're honoring. In Arlington Cemetery, they're laying the wreath. The same people, same values, same veterans, all of them being honored. And that's what makes us united, is having shared values. But what makes our veterans so important to us? What makes their sacrifice so important to us? Many of you are familiar with a book that Tom Brokaw wrote that's called The Greatest Generation. In this book, he examines the men and women who served during World War II and proclaims them to be the generation that is responsible for America being the preeminent world power, militarily, economically, and a bastion of freedom and a beacon of hope throughout the world. Brokaw says of that generation, at a time in their lives when their days and nights should have been filled with innocent adventure, love, and the lessons of the workaday world, they were fighting in the most primitive conditions possible across the bloodied landscape of France, Belgium, Italy, Austria, and the Coral Islands of the Pacific. They answered the call to save the world from the two most powerful and ruthless military machines ever assembled, instruments of conquest in the hands of fascist maniacs. They faced great odds and a late start, but they did not protest. They succeeded on every front. They won the war. They saved the world. They came home to joyous and short-lived celebrations and immediately began the task of rebuilding their lives and the world in the way that they wanted. They married in record numbers and gave birth to another distinctive generation, the baby boomers. A grateful nation made it possible for more of them to attend college than any society had ever educated anywhere at any time. They gave the world new science, literature, art, industry, economic strength, unparalleled in the long curve of history. But what makes that generation so special? What makes our veterans so special? You know, we heard a few minutes ago part of the America the Beautiful sung for us. In the third verse of America the Beautiful, there's a phrase that says, "May God thy gold refine." And when you think about it, how do we refine any kind of metal, whether it be gold or any other? We do it by removing the impurities. The heat dissolves and removes the impurities and makes it pure so that it's stronger, so that it's more lustrous, so it's more beautiful, so that it's more precious. And that's what's happened to our veterans. They have been refined through service. They have been refined through battle. They have been refined through sacrifice. And they have become pure and lustrous. And they make us what we are. There was a CNN survey, because, you know, a lot of times you hear at Veterans Day, "We thank you for your service." And it's a saying that we have said for years, and we mean it. But how many times do we really think about it? What kind of service are we thanking them for? What kind of sacrifice are we thanking them for? What kind of gift has this sacrifice and this service given us? Well, we say freedom. And sometimes we mean it, but do we really think about it? What does that freedom mean? You know, we've complained in the last couple of weeks, maybe the last couple of months, about this long, drawn-out election cycle of all the just interminable ads that we've had to endure in between the programs that we like to watch, the reality shows. And we've looked at those ads and we've complained about the election and we've complained about the candidates. But do you know what freedom that represents? It is the freedom to disagree. I can disagree with you, you can disagree with me, and we resolve it at the ballot box. How do people disagree in other parts of the world? With suicide bombs, with beheadings. If I disagree with you, I kill you. This is the kind of freedom that those sacrifices have given us, is the freedom to disagree without fear. What other kind of freedoms do we have? We have the freedom to learn. I don't know if you read about it or heard about it over the weekend, but there was a suicide bomber that, because they did not want children to learn, they did not want children to have the freedom to learn. Suicide bomber went into a school, blew it up, killed over 50 students. We have the freedom to worship or not to worship. What happens in other countries, in other parts of the world, if you don't agree with who they say God is, they kill you. You convert or you die. So what have we got? When our veterans have been refined and when they've served in the heat of battle, they have sacrificed for us so that we can disagree, so that we can learn, so that we can worship. Let's don't take them for granted. In the same CNN poll, they asked veterans, what can we do to thank you for your service? And the veterans responded, a holiday is nice, but what we need is for things to be done all year round, to indicate that you really appreciate the sacrifice that we've made and the freedoms that you have. So how can we thank them? You know what was done in World War II? We brought the veterans back and we gave them the education, we gave them the medical treatment, we gave them all of these things to show that we appreciate it, not just a holiday. We've been reading about the deplorable health care conditions that are in our Veterans Affairs Administration. And finally somebody's taken note and they're improving it. And it looks like it's going to get better. But for our veterans, we can appreciate what they've done by rewarding them for what they've done, by giving them the medical care that they so richly deserve. But you know, we've had a volunteer army since like the 70s. And so there are a lot of folks who don't share that heritage of being a veteran or having been of service to the country. And one thing that veterans without fail say is that, talk to us. Ask us to share our experiences with you. Let us know let us tell you what it was like. Let us tell you what it was like to leave family, to leave friends, to leave jobs. Our veterans are special to us, and they're special every day, not just on Veterans Day. And my hat's off to everyone who has served this country, who has served us, for the sacrifices that you have made, for the freedoms that you have given us. And I thank you.